But there's a reason that we don't go out to the community with specificity on some of these bond items. And so what we went out with was that we were going to build a MAC that would be utilized by fine arts and by athletics.
Yes.
And I think our community assumed that whatever we built was going to meet the needs of those two programs.
Absolutely.
And so as we have gotten smarter about what the true costs are as well as what the true needs are, I think we still have a mandate from the community to meet those needs. And so, I mean, to that end, Karen, I don't think people were saying, how many lockers are you including in these buildings? They just knew that we needed to build buildings to support our students in those programs. Right?
Okay, I got
We
you.
weren't at that level of specificity, nor could we be when we took a bond to the community.
Right, okay.
And I'm not remembering exactly why that is, but about bonds. But
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't a design at that point.
There wasn't a
Right.
schematic.
We were looking at other MACs and other districts and trying to make projections based on what that cost 5 years ago and rolling that forward with your Turner Index for 7 years to try to get there. So yeah, that answers it. Yes.
So then once the architect
Can you hold for a minute? Yeah, okay.
took into the design phase, they came back to us with the plans, and there were no locker rooms in the plan. And so we began to say, but we need locker rooms. We said that we had to have locker rooms for our students' safety, just the needs. I mean, that was a big piece of the. So we started looking about, well, what could we cut? Well, nothing could be cut. And so then we said, okay, well, they're not going to be able to have locker rooms in. So that's when we started talking about phases.
Yes.
And so when we at our it was the October 23rd work session, we gave you a bond update in which we talked about this project, and that's when we told you, and I think that's the first time that you heard, we're talking about phases, because that was the only way that we could deliver on building the MAX and getting down the road the locker rooms. And at that time, I believe it was Mrs. Caston that said, well, now talk to us some more about the phases, and is that something that we necessarily have to do? And so we left that meeting October 23rd, did further research, and that's when we started talking about, okay, when we do that, what is phase one going to cost versus phase two? And that's whenever we started thinking about the cost efficiencies that we could do if we were to do it all at one time. Had no idea at that time that it was going to come out to be, what's the big dollar amount here? If we do it all, if we wait and do phase two?
$3.1 million.
$3.1 million. So it comes down to this for me. Do we need locker rooms?
Yes.
I think it's been determined we need locker rooms. If we need locker rooms, should we wait and do it in phase two? And it's going to cost, what's the amount?
$3.1 million.
$3.1 million
More.
each.
No, to get collectively.
Collectively, yeah, more.
More fun.
Or do we do it now? And so those are kind of the determining points for us. So I think at the last meeting when we talked about that, I know the concern is that this could be a surprise to the community, which is why we were thinking about the phase. But when you weigh that in terms of the additional $3 million that we would be spending, we got direction from you last week that we wanted to move forward, but I know there's still concerns, and that's why we wanted to bring and have more conversation, more transparent, open conversation with you at this work setting. So.
Well, and like I said last week, we built a lot of schools and we've done a lot of classroom additions, but it's the first time we built a project like this. So I don't think it's unusual that we would dig into the details on this and try to make sure we have everybody's questions answered. So.